Almost summon. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
When she's excavated, I can start to summon her as a level.
Turn.
Your turn.
Attack.
I get to look at the top 27? Parts.
Yeah.
And I can rearrange them. Secret's not?
Secret. Okay, bud. Attack. Sure. Well, at least you got one. Sure. Pass. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, when this goes, that goes out. Is that good? Good?
Yeah.
I can excavate the top part of my deck, and if it's a plant, I draw it back into close harbor. But yeah, I can keep that one. I can keep that one. When a Sylvan goes to grave, I install someone to summon it. This effect lets me know. 4? It's not a plant, so it goes to the bottom.
Yeah. Tap. 26. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Later has to be remain on field in order for its effect to remain active, right?
No, it's out there.
For the turn. Okay. So you're taking it. You took 26.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, cards hands. And special summon, correct?
Okay.
What?
Yeah. Special summon.
Not normal or special summon level 5 or higher. It's not like over.
Spell dice. That's what I did.
That's it. Go ahead. Try to ram it into blaster. I'm looking at it.
Special? Tap.
Wait.
Yeah.
Last?
Whoever has more exceeds.
Oh, yes.
Check this out, 3.
Yes, sir.
You definitely use that. Oh, yeah.
Need to?
He was 21, right?
Yeah. I've been imagining. Pass. Target. Yeah. So. All right.
How many cards do you have? Yeah. X. Grab X.
Click.
Traded. This is sarcophagus.
We'll do this.
14. 56. Pass.
That's next to me. And you bounce it.
Round 2. 46.
Turn my back.
Yeah.
Check 3.
Yes.
Kind of lost interest in that after I lost to a main deck macro positive. Alright.
Yep.
You're the best, man. I guess.
Yeah. Pretty good here.
I mean, it should have been mine. Sure.
Oh, and there's no bell.
It's fine.
I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
just because.
Okay.
Knowing some.
Simultaneous? Yes, Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is 30.
Okay. So, how much I take?
You'll take 3,014. Yep. That'll get you 6,600.
Yep.
You're at 21. God damn it. I hate
Vic.
I'm good at I
See
get
if I miss.
Yep.
Minus 2, as much as somebody else. Cherubs from
Yep.
Cherubs. He's excavated, I can tell some level on.
Yep.
Target.
Do I cut this off and trail some of the remains? All the combo pieces. Sure.
Acting Mirror. That fine? Oh, don't want to activate. Let's go. Anything? Four.
What happened?
Negate the effect of one face-up card on field. On the game itself. Attack.
Until the end of the turn, right?
Until you enter, yes.
These bug eyes are just
Exactly the one you wanted to roll to.
Yeah, right.
Takes control of one certain mission.
Just big eye can attack.
Enter as base.
Take this attack.
But if I negate it's effect after I take a monster,
Oh.
you want me to suggest?
No. After you take the monster.
Certainly doesn't make it 80.
No, because he applies that. It's just like BLS. Like say if like you were to try to activate BLS effect.
3K and he cannot attack.
Can't attack. Even if it was negated by like Phoenix. Because he sets off the effect of not being able to attack if he tripped every attack.
This would be great if I wasn't playing. Like, even if you break through a BLS.
Even if you're affected, like even if you finish changes, like say like something BLS, and I activate my effect on you face down. And if you change, finish change, I can't attack with the other. Oh no, not. Like, if you was to negate the effect like effect veil. Okay, my bad. Effect veil. It still has a lingering effect that he can't activate his other effect. But if he can't attack if he activates the effect. So
My other question is Necro Garden affiliate affecting another card in the game?
Let's try this again.
No, he's just blocking the next attack. It's not affecting any monster. It's just blocking any next direct attack.
Destroy one card on the field. I'll destroy. Come out.
We just go again, bro. I don't have any else. If you big eye anyway, you still win.
Almost summon? Okay.
Is this supposed to be like if I program my monster in response to an activating Necro?
Okay. Free cake.
Like Felgren's not gonna be able to stop.
Targeting.
It hits through Battle Fader, it hits through Swiss Scarecrow, it hits through
Angelique.
Rainbow
Battle
Freebo.
Fader doesn't stop it.
No, Battle Fader is the one that predicts physics. No, it does not go through Battle Fader. Battle Fader targets the face, not the monster. It gets through Rainbow Freebo.
15?
Yeah. Sure.
1,000?
Sure.
19? I mean, you're at 19, right? Okay. Good.
I'm sure that's going to damage to you. Yeah, this goes to bug me. Yeah, two. Wait, I already ran this. I'm guessing you're going to go first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Targeting her off.
One. Yeah.
He destroys spell drop. You get Wyvern effect.
Sure.
really know if they made a program and you just understood it.
I don't know. You did the right play. I know what you was doing.
I mean, it would have been fun. Like, Tyus was nice. Like, I thought
Target.
Sure.
Two different names of white swings to grade.
No one? Sure.
Sure.
Tap. I lose 13. Activate.
So what?
What?
Will it activate in the grave?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Want me to put the wiki up?
I'll call it Judge.
Yeah, sure.
Judge!
Yes.
Can this activate in the grave?
You can?
Oh, wow, okay.
Because it doesn't say that it has to activate.
Alright.
14?
For real. Like,
Yeah.
I was done after the gear game. Like,
This?
I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a DD Whirly that bounces to the hand.
I don't know, that's what the judge said.
Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh! So game 1 against Sylvans. Summoning the Hanzo, search out the ninjutsu art of super transformation. Really good first turn play as it involves having basically a super poly set. Set 4 back row, and one of these is a safe zone. So I have the White Dragon safe zone lock, which I admit have not done in a long while. So 2 super transformations, a safe zone, and a black horn of heaven. Upon first sight, this is basically game. Like, there's not much of any deck can do against this, unless they play trap stun and then decide to go off, which in that case they kick my butt. So the opponent Rose Archer's 1 super transformation, but luckily I had a second one set, so I was able to dodge a bullet there. If I did not have the second super transformation set, I would have been forced to Valor the Lone Fire, which I actually really don't want to do. I mean, that's the best thing to Valor in the deck, but I just like saving the Valor for when I can't use the back row, basically. So, you know, if they trap stun and go off, I have a Valor to save my life. So here I have Rhoda. Generally I would want to Rhoda into the Hanzo to search for the super transformation, but I only played 2 and there's none left in the deck, so I just save it for any situation other than needing the Hanzo. So basically the Photon Thrasher. But I don't want to use a Rhoda now to thin my deck out of the Photon Thrasher, because that's actually a card that I want to draw into. So I want to leave the 2 in my deck to increase my odds of actually seeing it. And if I draw into a Thrasher, then Rhoda could be used to search out the Hanzo to help facilitate a rank 4 play. 4 play. So the opponent flips his Hermitry after I attacked it and gets off only one trigger. I would have felt bad if he had no triggers, because I don't like playing games that are one-sided. So I set the D prison just in case something happens. And yeah, I feel really safe. My back row cannot be destroyed, and I have a safe zone set for the White Dragon safe zone lock. Plus a Veiler in hand, and a Hyper Hammerhead for a backup play. In case he does go off, I'll just bounce it back to his hand. Granted, it would have been nice to have not seen the Hyper Hammerhead in my hand, but seeing as how there's no Super Transformation set left to set, then I'd rather see it earlier than top deck it later. So, because seeing the Hyper Hammerhead in my hand changes up the way I play, because he's a backup plan in case things go wrong. Pretty much a Grand Mole, except not as good, but kind of better because he's level 4 and a Super Transformation target. You get the idea. So the opponent tries his best to get past my field. And I will assume his hand is pretty mediocre because he's not making the optimal plays that Sylvans want to do. And he's getting bad nils too. That's also a downer. And I put my hand down because I was getting tired of hand shuffling. I need to really get out of the habit of hand shuffling because it's pretty annoying for people who are watching via the camera on my glasses. So here he goes and does things. He synchros for a Stardust Spark Dragon. I actually did not need to Black Horn of Heaven him here, because I had the Hyper Hammerhead to bounce it back to his deck, but I just wanted to save the Hyper Hammerhead, you know? I like to use up my back row first, and then the cards in my hand for, you know, in case of Trap Stun. I'm always aware of Trap Stun and Wiretap. I'm always thinking that it's gonna happen, so I try my best to remember that that's a thing. So the opponent activates Mount Sylvania, discarding his Hermitry. Now I have a really good follow-up of everywhere now, with Veiler in hand and BLS. So as soon as I Veiler anything, I have a BLS live action for next turn. But I still want to save the Veiler for the optimal card to Veiler. He summons the Princess, and then I know the next card is going to be a Martial Leaf, so I don't need to Veiler her. I just need to activate my safe zone, so Martial Leaf doesn't pop anything. And voila, safe zone. He drops the Sequoia, and I Veiler this one, because I don't want him to bring out the Princess and then making a rank 7 Aurea. I could Veiler the Aurea, but I wanted to just get the Veiler in my graveyard just so I can drop the BLS and then attack for game. And then we go on to game 2. The opponent starts off. I think I drew a really good hand, because I have the Pharaoh Imp play and a Soul Drain. So my goal in my head was to make the Imp search out the Masked Chameleon, make Star Spark Dragon, and then flip Soul Drain. So I have the Spark Dragon and the Soul Drain protected. Is what I would have wanted to go for if he had not popped the Photon Thrasher. So he gets 2 triggers off of the Hermitry. He loses all of, I would assume, all of his Vanity's Emptinesses, so I'm no longer afraid of him having a Vanity's Emptiness. He looks through his top 3 cards and then arranges it however he wants. Thankfully I have a Redox in hand. I love seeing Redox opening turn, because that just opens up so many plays for like the rest of the game. And it's better to see him early game rather than it is to see him late game. And I'd rather have him in my hand rather than having to Hanzo Ninjutsu Art him out. Granted, that's still a good play, but I'd just rather have him in my hand in general. So I summoned the Magdalene main phase 2 to get my floater engine going. And set to back row to hopefully protect her. And he activates his Soul Charge. So while he does this play, I'll explain what I would have done. If Magdalene would have survived the turn, I would have summoned the other Magdalene, make a King of Throw Imp, search out the Masked Chameleon, and then I would have a Masked Chameleon in hand and would have made the Stardust Spark Dragon to protect the Soul Drain. Which would have been nice if I had it now, but he had this Rose Archer to stop the Soul Drain, so in the end it didn't really matter that much. Magdalene dies, and he continues going off. Activates the Upstart Goblin, which negated the cost of Soul Drain, which I was happy about. I love it when the opponent activates Upstart Goblins, like, that 1000 can mean so much for the game. And he sets the mushroom. Thankfully I had the Dark Hole in hand, so he's not able to trigger the mushroom. So I blow everything up. I draw into a Hyper Hammerhead, meaning the only target I have left for Ninjutsu Art Super Transformation would be White Dragon. I just hope to God that I summon the Hanzo before I draw into the White Dragon. Having the Hyper Hammerhead in my hand means I have a backup plan in case things go wrong, or I have a free revive with the Redox. So, I have a pretty good backup hand, I would say. I also debated on using Redox's effect to special so I can make a King Throw Imp, just to have more like plays during this turn. But I decided to play more conservatively, because the opponent had too many cards in his hand. I would figure he has a way to kill the king, and then, you know, something. I just didn't really feel like doing that play, you know? Granted, it would have been still a really good play. I just chose not to do it. So the opponent activates his effects one after another, looks through the top 3 cards of his deck, and seeing how long it takes for him to rearrange it, and seeing how he's looking at his graveyard at the same time, I would assume he has a really good hand. Continues to think about his next plays, and then continues with the next plays. Me, I felt pretty safe, because I have backup plans in my hand for whatever he does. Like, I have an option for a 101, or Hyper Hammerhead can just bounce back whatever boss monster he makes, or I can just use Magdalene to keep stalling by summoning Magdalene and just keep summoning her until I find an out, meaning just every turn I just take 1400 less damage. So opponent makes his plays and then goes into a Felgrand. A very, very tough card for this deck because I cannot 101, and the only out I really consistently have is a Colossal Fighter, but I don't have access to a Colossal Fighter at the moment. So I try to figure out things. So shout out here to one of my good friends, Swan Lim, a fellow Sylvan player that I play with consistently. Admittedly, I just fudge around so much when I play with Swan. And whenever he consistently makes Felgran with his Sylvan decks, because that's what they do, they make Felgran. And, well, whenever he makes a Felgran, I just screw around, and you'll see pretty soon. So anyway, the reason why I search out Angeli instead of the usual Mageline is because if my next play goes wrong, Angeli can possibly get me back into the game by specialing with her effect and then making a wall that cannot be destroyed by battle, and then hopefully I would draw into an out after that. But that's in case something goes wrong. So I discard Redox and Murmillo to special the Murmillo. And then I use her effect to pop the Miracle Fertilizer, because I really don't want him to continue going off next turn. And here, so whenever Swan makes a Felgrand, the only card I have in my extra deck is a Crazy Box. And then I would just go for it. Roll that dice, see what happens. If something does not happen, it's a 3,000 wall that he has a hard time getting over. So, in the habit of making a Crazy Box against a Felgrand, I roll the dice, and lucky, I rolled a 4. So, lucky number 4 negates Crazy Box's effect and attack into the Felgrand. Because with Crazy Box, if I roll either the 4 to negate his own effect, or if I roll the effect that destroys one card on the field, Felgrand cannot change his effect to target himself or to negate Crazy Box's effect to not pop, because this is during the resolution of the effect. So he would have to activate his effect on Crazy Box before I activate, but if he does, I would be able to attack because his effect is negated. So Crazy Box is a huge anti-Felgrand, beater. The only way that it would be really bad is if I roll the effect to destroy himself. That's a 1 in 6 chance. If I roll the effect to negate my life points in half, well, that would be tough. But it would not be, game breaking. So yeah, that Crazy Box, winning me the game. And so the Felgrand dies, and I see what happens next. Crazy Box is just chilling there, being all cool, and doesn't afraid of anything. The opponent thinks about how to get over the Crazy Box. The deck does not consistently make rank 4s, so he cannot 1-1 it, and his main deck monsters other than Marshleaf cannot get over it. And really, there's no consistent way to get over Crazy Box with Sylvans besides Aurea. But he used up a lot of his resources to get out his Felgrand, so he cannot get past Crazy Box. I roll the 5, and I pop 1 card on the field. The back rows, I wasn't afraid of for some reason, just that gut feeling from playing Sylvans a lot. I just decided to pop the Sylvania, because that opens up so many plays for them. And, I know it's a Sylvania versus 2 cards, which I'm pretty sure in my gut wasn't a threat. So I summon the Angeli, and then activate Angeli's effect to bring out the Hoot Cake. I could have, I don't know, I could have used that Rhoda to search for a Hanzo, to search for a Ninjutsu Super Transformation, but I just decided not to. No real reason. There really is no better reason to go for an Angeli play. I just wanted to. It probably would have been a better idea to go for the Hanzo Super Ninjutsu Art play, but I just felt so in control that I didn't really feel like it. And if something went wrong, then I could just summon the Hanzo, set a Ninjutsu Art, then Super Transformation the monster that he killed me with. And this is also a good play, because now I have a Hoot Cake that cannot be destroyed by battle, and Angeli that is just chilling there waiting to do something cool next turn. So he would have to get rid of both of them if he wants to stop me, because if he gets rid of the Hoot Cake, I can just bring it back with Angeli that's chilling there. And if he gets rid of the Angeli, then I can just get it back with the Hoot Cake that's just sitting there. and then, you know, just keep going with that. And if he does not get rid of either of them, then I have a next turn Tiramisu Levier play, or just straight up Tiramisu play. So here is like this monster wall that he has a really hard time getting over. 3000 beer that Sylvans already have a hard time to get past, and one monster cannot be destroyed by battle, and one monster that if the other monster dies, then she can just keep the system rolling. And I just have the hugest amount of options next turn, depending on what he's not able to kill this turn. Which is why I went for that play. The opponent just goes and tries to get past his field. He thinks on what to do. So seeing as how he did not activate his back row, it was safe to assume that those two are not active back rows, so I wasn't afraid of anything. The only thing I would have to be afraid of is the monster that he's going to make with the plays that he's making. So now that he's activated Soul Charge, I know that my Angeli and Hookcake and such are safe from like any form of battle. So I was relatively confident that I would be able to deal with whatever he has next turn, because I have all the options in the world to do anything. Plus the Hyper Hammerhead in hand, and an even better backup plan for whatever he tries to make to stop my monsters. So I was pretty confident that I had this game in the bag. So the opponent goes. He tries to figure out what to do to stop me, because he knows that there's going to be a Tiramisu play next turn, because, you know, it's Madoshes. You don't have to know ILMOS to know that Madoshes are going to make the Tiramisu next turn. So he has a really hard time figuring out how to survive this turn. The only thing he really could have done was make a Fogrand. I would assume he doesn't play Scrap Dragon, and it's understandable because Sylvans have very, very little extra deck space. But if he had a Scrap Dragon, then he would have been in a... well, he wouldn't have been in much better position, but it still would have been a good way to play it. So before you guys in the comments say, boo, he didn't make a Scrap Dragon to do blah 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 blah, just keep that in mind. So I draw, and I draw into the Mew, which I did not want to see because I wanted to bring it out with the Hookcake, not from my hand. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. I could still normal summon it, make a Levier Tiramisu play. And I debated on that, actually, but I decided to go a different route. I try to bait out Felgrand's activation as much as I can, so I start off with the Hookcake. So one by one, I activate my effects to hopefully bait out the Felgrand. He chooses not to negate it. Yep, he chooses not to negate it. It hurt banishing the Thrasher because that means my Mass Chameleon doesn't have a target anymore, and if I draw to BLS, then that's one less BLS target. But you know what? I was going for game this turn, so I didn't really care. So I could make a Tiramisu here and bait out his Felgrand, but decided to just go for the Hyper Hammerhead instead. So this is another benefit of playing Rogue, because it puts so much stress on the opponent that the obvious play is still like the hardest play to figure out. So I attack into the Felgrand with my Hyper Hammerhead, and he negates it, but it activates in the graveyard, so it did not matter if he negated it or not. The better play would have been to Felgrand himself. That's what I was trying to bait out, but luckily he didn't. If he had Felgrand himself, then I would have just made a tiramisu and bounced back stuff, and then the game would have lasted a lot longer. I would have specialed the Redox from my graveyard to have another revive next turn, and then done something. Yeah, but was not that lucky. Actually, I probably would have just made a King of Fro Imp with the Angeli and the Mageline. Got my Mass Chameleon to my hand, special the Redox, and then had a Synchro play for next turn because of my Mass Chameleon. But either way, it doesn't matter anymore. Oh, and the Deep Prison. I felt pretty safe with the Deep Prison set. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the commentary.